Good evening. Welcome to Mitv News. We apologize for bringing you the news late. I am Jumoke Michaels. In the news tonight, Vice President Kashim Shettima has returned to Abuja after a week-long diplomatic and economic mission to Guinea-Conakry and Switzerland, declaring that Nigeria has reclaimed a frontline seat in global and regional policy discussions. The Vice President arrived at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on Saturday after representing President Bola Tinubu at the inauguration of Guinea's President Mamadi Doumbouya and led Nigeria's delegation to the 56th World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos. The Vice President said the trip reflects Nigeria's renewed commitment to regional solidarity in West Africa and its determination to reposition the economy under President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Shettima first visited Conakry, where he attended President Doumbouya's inauguration, reaffirming Nigeria's leadership role within ECOWAS and opening new avenues for bilateral cooperation in agriculture and manufacturing. From Guinea-Conakry, he proceeded to Davos, Switzerland, to lead Nigeria's delegation at WEF 2026. A key highlight of his visit was the commissioning of Nigeria House Davos, the country's first ever sovereign pavilion on the Davos promenade. Vice President Shettima also joined former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and Minister of Finance Wale Edun to advance the Accra Reset Initiative, a forum advocating African industrialization driven by domestic capital and value chains rather than foreign aid. The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, has expressed confidence in the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, saying the president knows what he's doing in steering the affairs of the country. Oba Ladoja stated this after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. The traditional ruler further noted that President Tinubu's track record as former governor of Lagos State demonstrates his capacity to manage difficult situations and deliver results. He said if Nigerians understand where the president is coming from, they would appreciate his approach to governance, adding that Tinubu successfully transformed Lagos State from what it was to what it became under his leadership. Olubadan expressed optimism that by the time President Tinubu leaves office in 2031, Nigeria would have become a country all citizens would be proud of.
No, if you know from where he's coming, you know that he knows what he's doing. That is what is most important. He was coming, he was able to get Lagos from where it was to where he left it. So I'm sure that the situation in Nigeria might not have been as even bad as it was. The problem is that Nigeria is more complex than the state because of the fact that not all of us have the same notion about what we want in Nigeria. So, but nonetheless, the states have more money than we had when we were governors, and they are able to meet their commitments than what we had when we were governors. So I believe that by and large, the economy has to be fixed and is being fixed. We will hope that by the time it's leaving 2031, we will have put Nigeria where all of us will be.
Oba Ladoja also noted that governing Nigeria is more complex than governing a state due to the country's diverse interests and expectations. The traditional ruler identified insecurity as Nigeria's most pressing challenge, saying it has negatively affected farming and daily activities across the country, including the southern region. Obaladoja said farmers are afraid to go to their farms, while citizens remain apprehensive about going about their daily businesses, but expressed confidence that the problem is not insurmountable and that the president is addressing them. He also urged the federal government to pay close attention to food production and health care, calling for the establishment of standard hospitals where Nigerians can receive proper medical care.
Well, we expect the president to work more on we expect the government to work more on the situation of the food. We expect them to look at the situation of health. We should have standard hospitals where we can treat our people. But the major problem we really now have is the problem of insecurity. Farmers find it difficult to go to their farms. And it is already coming to the south also. So everybody is apprehensive of going to the farm. Everybody is apprehensive of going about their daily business. I don't think it is insurmountable, but by and large, we believe that the president is tackling this correctly.
The federal government has unveiled a streamlined framework to transform Nigeria's creativity, innovation, and indigenous knowledge into protected and commercially valuable assets. Speaking at the inauguration of the implementation bodies for the National Intellectual Property Policy and Strategy in Abuja, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, said the policy is anchored on legal and regulatory reform, institutional modernization, commercialization, sector-specific interventions, and awareness and capacity building. She explained that ongoing reforms include the review of patents, trademarks, and design laws, the development of new frameworks for trade secrets and traditional knowledge, and the finalization of regulations under the Plant Variety Protection Act. Automation of IP registration systems and stronger technical capacity across registries are also key priorities. Representing the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, the Solicitor General of the Federation, Beatrice Jedi Agba, said the policy, approved by the Federal Executive Council last year, provides a comprehensive national framework to drive economic diversification, job creation, global competitiveness, and the growth of Nigeria's cultural industries.
And problem-solving fulcrum, ensuring that regulatory, budgetary, and institutional bottlenecks do not stall implementation. The Interagency Coordination Group is the technical coordination mechanism for execution. Its responsibility is to ensure that implementation actually happens across agencies. These include harmonizing agency work plans with timelines with the National IP Implementation Roadmap, coordinating technical inputs on legislation, digitization, institutional reform, enforcement, commercialization, awareness, and capacity building, tracking agency-level deliverables and milestones, preparing consolidated technical progress reports, and supporting monitoring, evaluation, and stakeholder alignment. In this regard, I wish to highlight a small number of priority areas where early progress is both necessary and achievable. First is the review and rationalization of Nigeria's IP legislation. Second is ratification of relevant international treaties. And third, immediate follow-through on the resolution of the Federal Executive Council for the establishment of a Nigerian Intellectual Property Commission. I'm quite aware that these issues are not entirely new. A series of technical engagements in the past culminated in the preparation of a draft IP bill and an implementation roadmap.
jointly submitted by the lead IP agencies as far back as 2014. These materials represent low-hanging fruit, and with focused technical work, they can be reviewed, updated, and refined to reflect current realities and then resubmitted for further follow-up action.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has formally inaugurated the governing board of the Nigerian Shippers Council, describing the move as a critical step towards strengthening governance and accountability in Nigeria's maritime sector. The inauguration, held in Abuja, marked a significant milestone in the federal government's efforts to reposition the marine and blue economy as a key driver of national economic growth. Speaking at the event, Minister Oyetola said the constitution of the board, approved by President Bola Tinubu under the Renewed Hope agenda, reflects government's commitment to good governance, institutional effectiveness, and economic transformation through the maritime industry. The minister charged members of the newly inaugurated board to provide strong strategic direction, sound policy guidance, and vigilant oversight in line with existing laws and government policies. Responding on behalf of the board, Dr. Shima expressed appreciation to President Bola Tinubu for the confidence reposed in them. He assured that the board would carry out its responsibilities with dedication, professionalism, and integrity. He also pledged the board's commitment to effective oversight, improved regulatory efficiency, enhanced port performance, better trade facilitation, and the advancement of Nigeria's broader economic agenda. The inauguration of the board is expected to further strengthen the regulatory framework of Nigeria's ports and support ongoing reforms aimed at boosting efficiency and attracting investment in the maritime sector.
The Nigerian Shippers Council occupies a critical position as the designated port economy regulator entrusted with promoting efficiency, fairness, and transparency in port pricing, charges, and service delivery. The effective discharge of this mandate is essential to reducing the cost of doing business at our ports, facilitating trade, protecting the interests of shippers, and strengthening Nigeria's competitiveness in regional and global commerce.
Clearly, the workings of the Nigerian Shippers Council and the Ministry of Law Economy is targeted towards enhancing the revenue base of this country, using the best practices, obeying the excellent rules, regulations, and laws. And let me give my personal assurance, and on behalf of the board, that everything pertaining to the operation of this ministry and this particular council for the monitoring, movement, and transportation of cargo via waters within Nigeria.
Now to security matters. The theater commander of Joint Task Force Northwest, Operation Fasan Yama, Major General Wara Bello Idris, has declared that notorious bandit leader Bello Turji will soon be eliminated as military operations intensify across the region. Major General Idris made the assertion while receiving defense correspondents during an operational tour of the Northwest. He said troops have continued to degrade bandits' enclaves, disrupt logistics routes, and neutralize key collaborators through intelligence-driven operations in collaboration with other security agencies. He disclosed that recent operations have led to the recovery of arms and ammunition, destruction of bandit camps, and improved freedom of movement along previously threatened corridors, significantly weakening Turji's network. The theater commander stressed that the armed forces mission goes beyond containment, emphasizing total eradication of terrorist and bandit groups in line with their constitutional mandate. He noted that troops are conducting sustained operations, including forest sweeps, securing supply routes, pursuing fleeing terrorists and executing targeted rescue missions, citing the recent operation at the Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School in Kebbi State. Major General Idris also dismissed reports alleging the release of 70 terrorists, describing them as fake news, and urged the media to promote verified information to counter misinformation and strengthen public confidence in the military.
That just recently, a few days ago, through human intelligence, along with the technology available to us, we were able to arrest 3 major logistics suppliers. Currently, they are with us for further processing. Some of them have already started speeding. Relatively has been elusive all through the period of these operations. Let me assure you that with the current drive of the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, and this headquarters, Theater Command of the Professor Yama, with our current drive, the refugee will soon be peaceful. I'm saying this because
in the meantime, troops of 1 Division, Sector 1 Operation Fasanyama, have successfully foiled a bandit attack in Marabanrido general area of Kaduna State, neutralizing 1 suspected violent extremist and recovering stolen livestock. In a statement on Saturday by the Acting Staff Officer, Grade 2, Community Relations, Army Public Relations 1 Division, Sector 1 OPFY, Captain Bello Nuruddin, said the operation followed a distress call received late on January 22, 2026, reporting armed bandits had rustled livestock in Angwanfulan village. Troops then pursued the bandits into surrounding forested areas, including Kankomi Forest, and made contact again at a suspected crossing point around Angwanserki. During the engagement, troops overwhelmed the terrorists with high-volume fire, compelling them to abandon their loot and flee in disarray, leading to the recovery of some rustled livestock. Further operations in the early hours of January 23rd resulted in the neutralization of 1 terrorist. The troops also recovered 2 AK-47 rifles, 4 magazines, and 15 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition. The General Officer commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army and Commander of Sector 1 Operation Fansanyama, Major General Abubakar Sadiq Wasi, commended the troops for their bravery and professionalism. He charged them to sustain the tempo of operations in pursuing criminals around their hideouts, reassuring the public of the Army's commitment to protecting lives and property, and called on citizens to provide timely and credible information to security agencies to support ongoing operations. The First Lady of Lagos State, Dr. Claudiana Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, will flag off the measles, rubella, and routine immunization campaign on Tuesday. The week-long campaign will run till Wednesday, 5th February 2026, across all local government areas and local council development areas of the state. The integrated campaign that aligns with national and global immunization goals is designed to protect children and adolescents from vaccine-preventable diseases. Speaking on the campaign, the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Primary Health Care Board, Dr. Ibrahim Akinwumi Mustafa, affirmed that routine immunization is a proven intervention for preventing vaccine-preventable diseases like polio, tuberculosis, whooping cough, diphtheria, cervical cancer, and many more. The Permanent Secretary emphasized that sustained immunization efforts contribute significantly to reducing child morbidity and mortality. improving school attendance, and promoting long-term economic and social development. The campaign will be implemented with support from key development partners, including the Federal Ministry of Health, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, World Health Organization, United Nations Children's Fund, and other immunization partners. Residents are encouraged to visit the nearest primary healthcare center or designated vaccination post within their communities during the campaign period. The All Progressives Congress, APC, Lagos East Senatorial District says it is determined to sanitize and deepen internal democracy in commitment to the e-registration of members of the party in the area. This was the submission of the chairman, Lagos APC, Cornelius Ojelabi, and party leaders at the All Progressives Congress, Lagos East Senatorial District stakeholders meeting held at Magodo. Ojelabi urged APC leaders at the stakeholders meeting to contribute positively to the growth of the party by taking the e-registration of members as an important matter, while saying a price tag will be announced as compensation for the local government or LCDA with the highest number of registrants, while also calling on them to come together to strengthen the APC in Lagos to move the country forward. Ojelabi at the meeting, which had in attendance the district's APC's youth leader, Dr. Seriki Muritala, added that the regulation of the exchange rates and other achievements are aimed to ensure the people in the grassroots enjoy the dividends of democracy. APC's Vice Chairman, Lagos East, Olayinka Olusoya, restated the commitment of the party leaders in the senatorial district to continue to close ranks to promote and deliver progress, stability, and renewed hope, commending President Tinubu, who has demonstrated courage with various reforms of the administration. Also speaking, Senator Tokunbo Abiru urged the party members of the Lagos East Senatorial District to manage their differences and cooperate with their leaders and be committed so that APC would record greater success in the coming elections.
What we are doing presently is e-registration. The ongoing e-registration is very, very important because we want to use that particular data to determine what we are going to expect in the general election. So let us be mindful of it, that we are determined to sanitize and deepen internal democracy.
As we move forward, let us continue to close ranks, support one another, communicate effectively with our people and projects, and project the achievement of our party and government with confidence and clarity. Together, under the banner of All Progressive Congress, we will continue to deliver progress, stability, and renewed hope to Lagos East, Lagos State, and Nigeria at large.
The whole idea of this e-registration, one, is to also show the strength of the party. It is when we have been able to pull the strength and identify the strength. That is when we can galvanize what we have for real grassroots support. For real grassroots support, we cannot have a registered voters profile of almost over 7 million in Lagos.
To do is for him to continue the good job that he's doing, and for us to support him is for us to register as a party member. For us to support him is for us to mobilize more people to our party, and for us to support him is for us to encourage everybody to go and register on the INEC platform, so that all of us will be involved. Sovereignty belongs to people, and for him to emerge through democratically process, it is for all of us to come on board and do what's expected of us. The party leadership are so clear and straightforward. Unity in diversity, and they equally reiterate that we must ensure that no division within the party, no section. We are all members of the progressive team.
At least one yet-to-be-identified driver was confirmed dead in a multiple articulated vehicle collision in the early hours of Friday at Otedola Bridge in Ward Secretariat along the Lagos-Ibadan motorway. As of press time, 9 a.m., the incident temporarily crippled vehicular movement and prompted an urgent deployment of multi-agency emergency intervention. The principal incident involved a violent collision between two heavy-duty trailers, one laden with sand and the other conveying granite, reportedly occasioned by a reckless contest for right-of-way, causing a forceful impact which led to devastating consequences, trapping the driver of the sand-laden trailer, who sustained fatal injuries and was later confirmed dead. The driver of the second trailer was rescued alive and remarkably escaped unhurt. Operatives of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority LASMA rescue team, while on routine nocturnal surveillance and incident monitoring, professionally removed a trapped victim and immediately transferred him to personnel of the Lagos State Ambulance Service, who conveyed him to the General Hospital in Ikeja, where he was pronounced dead. In a related development, another traffic incident was recorded approximately 50 meters from the primary crash site, where a separate trailer fully loaded with flour lost stability and overturned, further aggravating traffic congestion along the already compromised corridor. To forestall a breakdown of law and order and ensure public safety, security operatives from the Alausa Police Division were promptly deployed to the scene to provide adequate security cover, manage crowd control, and support ongoing rescue and recovery operations. Consequently, motorists traveling inward to Lagos from the Mowe-Kara Bridge and Redemption Camp axis were redirected through the Ojodu-Olole route connecting Agidingbi, Coca-Cola, Secretariat, and 7-Up to enable continued movement towards Bagada or Ojota with minimal inconvenience. Speaking on the unfortunate incident, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Transportation, Sholagiwa, described the crashes as deeply regrettable and largely preventable, attributing them to impatience, indiscipline, and the refusal of drivers to yield appropriately on the motorway. The Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit, has expressed concern over recent attempts by officials of the Lagos State government to reignite the harassment, molestation, and illegal punishment of hijab-wearing students in secondary schools across the state. In a statement released, the Amir, who is the president of MSSN Lagos, Kamaldeen Abiono, urged Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to call officials of the Ministry of Education, including tutors general and principals, to ensure orderliness within the state school system. The Amir's reaction followed reports of a meeting involving school principals, Education Ministry officials, and the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Jamiu Tolani Ali Balogun, during which the Commissioner purportedly said that the hijab must not cover school badges. He reminded the state government that the issue reached its logical and final legal conclusion on June 17, 2022, when the Supreme Court of Nigeria affirmed the right of Muslim female students to wear the hijab. Abiono noted that the Apex Court did not grant the state government or any individual official the power to dictate a design that diminishes the hijab's essence as an act of worship. The Lagos State Environmental and Sanitation Corps, popularly called KAI, has announced plans to intensify crackdown on illegal street trading, hawking, and roadside activities across the metropolis from January 2026, warning that wares displayed on public roads and pedestrian walkways will be cleared and confiscated. The Corps Marshal of Las Jes, Major Olaniyi Cole, retired, made the declaration during the Lagos West Senatorial District Stakeholders Meeting 2025 held in Lagos as part of activities marking the end of the year. The event themed Building a Cleaner Lagos, Improving Compliance with Environmental Sanitation Laws, had in attendance market leaders, transport unions, community leaders, government officials, and members of the public. Cole said the enforcement drive aligns with the Lagos State government's policy to eliminate street trading and other environmental infractions in order to promote the culture of a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable environment for residents. The Permanent Secretary, Office of Environmental Services, Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, Dr. Gaji Tajuddin, represented by Sonny Olayinka, described KAI as a frontline agency in enforcing environmental sanitation laws in Lagos. The Yaloja General of Oshodi, Sikirat Adeyanju, commended KAI operatives for sustained environmental surveillance, disclosing that market leaders in Oshodi now engage late-night sweepers to ensure daily waste evacuation, a move she said has improved cleanliness in the area.
We go to the market, we go to the these road transport workers, and we enter some communities. We educate them on what Lagos State wants in terms of the environment, in terms of taking care of the environment. A lot of things that we put in place, like we do constant patrol, and our men on ground, once they give any situation report of a particular place, if there's any infraction there, we go there immediately to clear it. Every now and then, definitely people will turn a new leaf. Don't sell where you are not supposed to sell. Don't sell on our setback, our walkway, and on walkway, setback. Don't sell. Where the government says you should not sell, don't sell, because if you sell, we'll definitely come for you.
That 90% of our markets in Lagos State are illegal. So how do we end the legality, and what steps are you taking, sir?
That is why we have constant patrol. Anytime we see such markets, we remove them. That's all.
What we are doing here today is actually what we need to do at this point in time, because we don't just want to be enforcing the law without ensuring compliance of the law. And that is why we are here today. And this stakeholders meeting has actually given us an opportunity to interact with the populace, all the major stakeholders, all to ensure that the environment is clean, the environment is clean, healthy, and sustainable. And
the Oba of Lagos, Oba Riwanu Aremu Akiolu, has called on monarchs and community leaders across the country to live exemplary lives rooted in spirituality, discipline, and honesty, stressing that their relevance in governance depends largely on the quality of leadership they provide. The traditional ruler spoke at his Idu Igoron Palace during a ceremony marking the issuance of instruments of office to 5 recently coronated traditional white-cap chiefs and 9 prominent Lagosians conferred with honorary chieftaincy titles. In a chat with journalists after the traditional rituals, the monarch addressed concerns about the role of traditional institutions in governance, urging leaders across the country to be closer to God and raise their children in line with morals and religious values. He said traditional rulers must be firm, principled, and uncompromising when it comes to issues of discipline, while also ensuring that the environments are kept clean and orderly. He also proposed the reintroduction of a community-based enforcement system, once known as Giwa Giwa, a traditional structure used in the past to monitor communities and ensure that children were properly guided and returned home when found loitering. Responding to questions on whether monarchs are being sidelined in governance, the traditional rulers stressed that leadership roles are not automatically earned, but must be justified through integrity and sincerity. Individuals honored with chieftaincy titles include Dr. Olumide Olayinka, Are Atunluto, Chief Olumuyiwa Olorode and wife, Olufunke Olotu and Yeye Abiye, Chief Tajuddin and wife Rashida Tolamide Okoya, Otun Are and Yeye Otun Are, amongst others.
I'm planning a proposal to the government to reintroduce what we know in those days as person who will go around and breed the sheep. They call them Giwa Giwa. We have Giwa Agoro in those days. We have Giwa Lelaboye. We have Oseni Giwa Tidolu. They will go around and breed the chiefs so that all will be well. As monarchs, as leaders, we are supposed to lay a good example and to tell the government the truth, not what the government wants to hear. They are two different things. As I am here, I have no knowledge. I have no monopoly of knowledge. Yoruba says, if they are close to God and prayerful and be absolutely honest, they won't have problem. That's why all of us in this country, we should have patience and pray for our leaders, and all will be well.
So I want to appreciate Almighty Allah for letting me be privileged to be given such a high honored title in Lagos State. I want to also appreciate Mr. President for his goodwill messages. I want to appreciate my governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Mr. Selebu, for all the support and all the effort he has put in making Lagos a greater Lagos. I want to appreciate my husband and my children, my family, for all the support that they have always given me. I want to appreciate all my leaders, all my supporters, all my well-wishers, and of course the leadership of the National Assembly, for all the privileges that they have given me. And most importantly, I want to appreciate Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who has been a strong pillar of support, my role model and my mentor. I want to appreciate everybody that have been there for me all these years. And I want to especially appreciate the King, Eleko himself, Oba Rilwan Babatunde Oshuolale Akiolu.
The Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, has launched an artificial intelligence AI-powered teaching and learning platform known as the Ogun Learning Enhancement and Academic Resource Network. The governor, speaking at the Cultural Center, Kuto, venue of the event in Abeokuta, the state capital, says this is aimed at repositioning the state's education sector in line with international best practices for 21st century teaching and learning process. He also said that the Ogun Learn would provide comprehensive lesson resources and interactive learning support for students while enabling teachers to plan lessons, access teaching materials, and track performance more effectively.
Face the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19, and the traditional classroom learning was abruptly disrupted. Ogun State responded decisively with innovation through the launch of Ogun DigiClass, ensuring continuity of learning for all our students. They learned from the comfort of their homes. That experience reinforced our conviction that technology must be embedded permanently within our education system, not only as an emergency response, but as a long-term strategy. Today, Ogun Learn reflects our firm belief that every child, regardless of location or background, deserves access to quality education enhanced by technology. Fully digitalized the education sector in Ogun State. This transformation goes beyond platforms and infrastructure. It is fundamentally about people. That is why we have institutionalized continuous training and retraining for our teachers and education officers, equipping them with the digital skills.
Still in the southwest and now to Osun State, where the Olubosi of Ifetedo town has made a Save Our Soul call to Osun State government for the provision of drinkable water. This is coming as residents are appealing for more government intervention in the community. MITV correspondent Jamiu Omoniyi completes the story.
Ifetedo town is a border community and the headquarters of Ife South local government area of Osun State. It's also a host community for the College of Law of the Osun State University. Several residents were seen operating generator sets as a source of energy for their businesses due to epileptic power supply.
These and many others take the lead in their demand from the government as they lament being deprived of government attention and development.
There is nothing we've achieved from the government as at present. The only thing that one can point to in Ifetedo is that we've done a 1.5 kilometer road project. That is too small. Our market needs development. The road in the town needs development.
Some indigents hope that full implementation of local government autonomy will accelerate the needed development in the area.
The local government can be autonomous, whereby they are given a privilege, to tackle some of the domestic developmental projects. I think to some extent, our environment would probably gain from that dividend. Ifetedo is the headquarters of Ife South local government, but you can see there's no really dividends of government, of good governance in Ifetedo. But we are appealing to government from all strata, be it state and federal, to please look at us and see how they can help us to develop Ifetedo.
At the turning of sword for our ultra-modern palace, the Olubosin of Ifetedo, Oba Akinola Oyetade, noted the residents depend on rivers and streams for their water needs, appealing for infrastructural intervention in the community.
Till date, the Ondo State government is supplying water to Okegbo community from that river only. And I wonder why the Osun State government cannot do the same thing for us. It's been there for long. We've been drinking that from borehole, but the generality of my people still go to the streams to fetch water.
Chairman of Ife South local government, Muftau Adegbite, however, promised that the local government administration will do its best to ensure significant development in the area.
If you are talking of road, yeah, I will admit that one. And by the special grace of God, before the end of this year, we have planned on some roads in the community. So before the palace is completed, I'm quite sure the Olubosin's Palace Road will have been completed too, by the special grace of God.
With the presence of the College of Law of the Osun State University in Ifetedo, the community remains a major hub for the propagation of knowledge in Osun State.
The monarch also maintained that neighboring Okegbo community continue to enjoy good water supply from the Oni River, courtesy of the Ondo State government. They hope that Osun State government will also come to their aid by provision of a good water supply from Ifetedo. Jamiu Omoniyi.
You're still watching MITV Primetime News. Up next are stories from the foreign scene. Details after this break. Welcome back. Russian air attacks on Saturday targeted Ukraine's capital Kyiv and northeastern city of Kharkiv, killing at least one person and injuring nearly 20 others, according to local authorities. Ukraine's State Emergency Service said at least 19 people have been injured in Russian attacks on the northeastern region of Kharkiv, including the city of Kharkiv, revising the earlier toll. There were attacks overnight in the city of Kharkiv, but really all of eastern Ukraine came under attack last night. All the major cities from Kyiv down to Dnipro, Zaporizhia and Chernihiv. In Kyiv, there have been attacks on energy infrastructure since the beginning of the month, while for the entirety of the left bank, many thousands of people are without electricity, some of them since January 9, as the situation gets worse by the day. Strikes destroyed the top floor of a confectionery factory, killing one woman and wounding two more in the Holosyikiv district. A home in the same area also sustained damage. Meanwhile, in the Dnipropetrovsk district, where one person was wounded, firefighters extinguished flames at a garage and a fuel truck. An uninhabited residential high-rise building was destroyed in the Daniskiv district, while an office building in the Solomiaskiv district was damaged. Firefighters put out flames at both locations, the service said. Meanwhile, negotiators from Russia, Ukraine, and the United States on Saturday concluded their two-day meeting in Abu Dhabi without announcing any results in their efforts to end the almost 4-year-long war. Delegations from Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. have been meeting in Abu Dhabi for the first trilateral talks since the Kremlin launched a full-scale invasion of its neighbor in 2022. The talks ended on Saturday. Diana Davitian, a spokesperson for top Ukrainian negotiator Rustem Umerov, told reporters. In advance of the talks, Ukraine's chief negotiator Rustem Umerov said the discussions focused on the parameters for ending Russia's war and the further logic of the negotiation process. Russian media also reported Moscow remained open to a continuation of dialogue between Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. Reports say that some progress had been made, but the key issue of territory remains unresolved. 2 children have been killed in an Israeli attack in northern Gaza in the latest violation of its ceasefire deal with Hamas in the Palestinian enclave. Medical resources in Gaza on Saturday said the children belonging to the same family were killed when an Israeli drone struck civilians gathering firewood near Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza. Severe fuel shortages have forced many Palestinians to search for fuel wherever they can, amid low temperatures that drop as low as 10 degrees Celsius at night these days. Palestinians living in makeshift tents have little protection from strong winds and rain, as most shelters are made of thin canvas and plastic sheets. Israel continues to block or limit the number of vital aid entering the territory, such as tents, mobile homes, or materials to fix tents, in violation of the ceasefire it agreed with Hamas in October, as well as its obligations under international law as the occupying power in the Strip. Israel has violated hundreds of times on a near-daily basis the United States brokered ceasefire, which took effect on October 10. The Defense Department says in an influential strategy document published that the U.S. military's top focus is no longer on China, but instead the homeland and Western Hemisphere. The priorities laid out in the 2026 National Defense Strategy, a quadrennial report last published in 2022, diverged significantly from those of the Biden administration, with efforts geared more inward, such as securing the border and countering narcotics. The document says the country is not pursuing an isolationist agenda, but lays out why the U.S. wants allies to do more, while the military focuses more on the homeland. The main focus on the homeland includes a section about the U.S. no longer ceding key terrain in the Western Hemisphere and how the Pentagon will provide President Donald Trump with credible options to guarantee U.S. military and commercial access to key terrain from the Arctic to South America, especially Greenland, the Gulf of America, and the Panama Canal. The number 2 priority for the Pentagon is now China, which was characterized in the 2022 report as the most significant strategic competitor to the U.S., due in part to Beijing's territorial claims in the South China Sea and its aggressive behavior to U.S. allies. The new report says the U.S. does not seek to strangle or humiliate China, but rather should deter the country through strength, not confrontation, while the Pentagon would provide the military strength for President Trump's visionary and realistic diplomacy. At least 7 people have died and more than 80 others are missing after a landslide hit Indonesia's West Java province. The landslide occurred in the West Bandung region, southeast of the capital, Jakarta, following days of intense rainfall. Indonesia's Disaster Mitigation Agency said in a statement that more than 30 homes were destroyed after landslide material buried residential areas, causing fatalities and affecting local residents. Flooding, landslide, and extreme weather alerts have also been issued for the broader region. The landslide hit the village of Paralangu around 2:30 a.m. on Saturday, which was 19:30 GMT. Communication Chief of the National Search Agency, Abdul Muhari, said 24 people were evacuated safely from the affected region. Images shared by local news outlets showed homes buried under mud and debris. We'll take another break to bring you sport news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Manchester City strolled to their first Premier League victory of 2026 as Omar Mamouche and Antonio Semenyo fired Pep Guardiola's side to a 2-0 win at home to Wolverhampton, with Erling Haaland the most eye-catching absentee from the starting 11 as Pep Guardiola made 6 changes from the side, who were battered 3-1 by Bodo Glimt in the Champions League, while Mark Guehi made an impressive debut. Mamouche, starting for the first time in the league since August, only needed 6 minutes to put the host in front when he pounced on a wonderful cross from Matheus Nunes. City had a penalty claim for handball, which went to VAR, but referee Farai Hallam stood his ground and stood by his on-field decision to not penalize Yerson Moquera for Mamouche's strike, hitting his arm from close range. It mattered little as City doubled their lead regardless right before halftime. Rodri, Ryan Cherki, and Bernardo Silva all contributed to a flowing team move, which ended with Semenyo bagging his 3rd goal in 4 appearances for City since his €65 million move in January. In another Premier League match, Tottenham Hotspur rescued a point at Burnley on Saturday as Christian Romero's 90th-minute header grabbed a 2-2 draw, but the pressure is far from Thomas Frank as Spurs have won just 2 of their last 14 Premier League games. Spurs took a deserved lead through Mickey van der Saaven's strike in the first half, but right on halftime, Axel Tuanzebe made it 1-1. Martin Dobrevka made a string of 5 saves throughout. Then Burnley took the lead through Lily Foster, but Romero popped up late on to grab a point, which neither team will be happy with. Talking tennis, brutal heat triggered a 5-hour suspension of matches on outside courts at the Australian Open on Saturday as Novak Djokovic powered to another landmark win. Players and spectators roasted on day 7 at Melbourne Park, where temperatures soared to 38 degrees Celsius. The 38-year-old swept past Dutchman Botic van de Zandschulp 6-3, 6-4, 7-6, 7-4 on Rod Laver Arena. He becomes the first player to win 400 Grand Slam matches. His reward is a meeting with Dutch rising star Jakub Mensik. In the women's singles, world number 2 Iga Swiatek was given an almighty scare by Russian Anna Kalinskaya before earning a 6-1, 1-6, 6-1 victory on Saturday and advancing to the Australian Open fourth round. Recovered well from her shaky second set to steal the win in 1 hour and 44 minutes as she continued to build momentum in her hunt for a career Grand Slam. The second-seeded Pole was at her ruthless best as she raced to a 5-1 lead with a double break and secured the opening set in only 24 minutes to turn the screws on and off color Kalinskaya, who received treatment on her lower back during the break. But a role reversal in the second set saw 6-time Grand Slam champion Swiatek drop serve 3 times as Kalinskaya controlled proceedings. Capitalizing on a number of errors off the Pole's racket. And that's it on MITV Primetime News. Thanks for watching. I am Jumoke Michaels. Good night.